Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown podcast with Johnny and Dana. This is the lowdown on Neto Borges, Boro's brand new left back. And you got a look at him on Saturday against Cardiff, but we're here to find out a little bit more about Boro's new left back. And he's came from Clermont Foot in France and on a rumoured fee of £1.3 million. So the 27-year-old, who's 28 in September, has got really good experience. He's played in Brazil, Sweden, Belgium, Portugal and France, and has joined Boro on a 3-year deal. And what did Mike Carrick say about him when he first joined? He said the first part of it is obviously we needed the left back after Alex's injury for a long period. So it's something that we needed to cover. Neto is someone we've been looking at for some time, and we're delighted to have him. He's an attacking left back and likes getting up and attacking that side of the pitch. He's got great experience and is a terrific character too. He captained Clermont, so he's a good type of character, and we're happy to have him. Dana, I know we had a very brief view of him, well, 90 minutes, if that. Not really loads to see on the player, but we've been doing some digging ourselves. And what type of player have we got in Neto Borges, apart from a great name, of course?
And Brazilian, which is always good with Middlesbrough Football Club. With Borges, I think it's important to note that he was a top target of Boro's last summer as well, but with Clermont finishing 8th, I think it might actually be their best league finish in a number of years. He also had 2 years left on his deal, so a deal for Boro couldn't be done. I did notice that he does have a variety of cross types. He likes to stand one up at the near or far post, but he can also create from deep on the left flank or via a cutback on the byline. I personally feel like he should have had more career assists than he has, but for poor finishing, particularly at Clermont, Jesus Christ. So he should fit in perfectly at Middlesbrough, to be honest. In his debut season in France, which was very impressive, garnered a lot of plaudits, landed himself in the Get French Football News Team of the Year for that season. He was averaging 2.45 shot creating actions per 90. Last season, though, he was down on that, averaging 1.79. To compare, Lucas Engel was averaging 1.78 shot creating actions per 90 last season. But it is worth noting, though, as a key piece of context, that Clermont did have a complete come down from that 8th place finish 2 seasons ago. They got relegated, rock bottom of Ligue 1 last campaign. Neto Borges did say in an interview with BBC Tees, which is a fantastic interview, by the way. If you haven't listened to it, please do. Very infectious personality, good mentality, straight from that interview with Matt Drury. Very, very good. He said that he wants to show what he can do on the ball, as his game last season was more in tune to how he was against the ball, defending against some pretty top quality wingers in that division. Obviously, when you are a struggling team, you are going to defend more than you would probably want. But back to Get French Football News, who, by the way, are a very good source for French news. They described Borges as a player with an all-action skill set, said he has a unique profile, and noted his eye for an interception, his deceptively strong aerial presence, and his willingness to gallop all the way into the box to create chances. On that last point about, getting to the galloping all the way into the box to create chances, he does show up quite frequently getting forward from left back to support the attack. I saw this probably more in his time with Tondela in Portugal than at Clermont, so potential just difference there in style of play. He is more direct. I don't think he's notably quick, though. I noticed he does make a lot of underlapping runs as well as overlapping, but I don't think we'll see that at Boro because, simply put, there's nothing to underlap. Our left winger roams inside, so it kind of doesn't really work that way. He is more of a ball carrier than what I've seen at left back from Lucas Engel, to be honest, which is maybe the key difference between the two. I mean, to be fair, with Lucas Engel, we spoke about it last podcast. Maybe it's on instruction. It certainly felt like it was on instruction last season, where Lucas Engel was maybe withholding a little bit and not getting forward as much. With Neto Borges, it seems like it's just part of his skill set, his natural kind of skill set to get forward. A lot of the time you'll see him win the ball back, and his first thought is to gallop up the pitch and to try to connect the play and offer up an option there if Clermont wanted to go out wide or wanted to initiate a little bit. over 1-2. Defensively, I did see a few mentions of him being good in 1v1 situations, but I'm not going to lie, when I was watching him on Y-Scout, there were quite a few clips in which he probably sold himself a little bit too much, and the winger easily knocked it past him, so something to keep an eye on. However, he was in the top 3% of league earned fullbacks last season, 4 interceptions, averaging around 2 per 90. That high ranking, again, probably due to Clermont's poor season, being forced to defend, quite frankly. So overall, I think he's all right. I'm not expecting him to be a notable upgrade on Engel, though. But there was there was a piece from Dom Shaw in the Northern Echo that I just want to quote. Obviously, I mentioned earlier that he was a target of Boro's last summer, but Boro couldn't do a deal because circumstances didn't allow it. Obviously, with Clermont's relegation, kind of opened up a deal for Boro to kind of go back to. They've obviously brought him in. It said that head of recruitment, Chris Jones, played a big part in convincing him to join Boro amid interest from Brest and Nantes. God, we'll just swiftly move on from those names. The club like what Borges can offer both on the ball, both on and off the pitch, and was struck by his character and mentality in discussions, as well as his fitness record. Obviously, fitness problems have plagued Boro over the last 2 seasons in particular, so hopefully he could be a available player, because the best ability is availability. So yeah, not an exciting signing necessarily. Don't expect him to be a massive upgrade on Lucas Engel, if I'm being quite frank, but we'll see how he goes. Hopefully he can be, and I get proved wrong there.
I mean, I love the catchphrase, Dana, on, availability. What was it again? Availability,
the best ability is availability. I will credit Ali Maxwell of Not the Top 20 for that, because ever since he said that, it's been like, it's stuck to my brain. So fair play to Ali for that.
Well, shout out to Ali, definitely for that, because I'll take it. Yeah, and I think it's a great deal. I think for Boro, we definitely needed another left back in. It's intriguing though. This is our 5th left back under Michael Carrick, 6th if you want to count Hayden Coulson. Appreciate he was already at the club, so it felt like I couldn't really add, but like 5th proper recruit of it. So it feels like a position that we haven't really got right just yet. We had Ryan Giles, who is very unique profile, who likes to get forward. But every single left back that we've had has said, well, they can't defend, or they're always, they always have this weakness. And when we look at Boro stylistically, and when you see that player come inside on that left wing, it always needs a 2v1. So they're always going to be exposed to some aspect. I think we just need to see what NETO BORGES can do when he is left 2v1, which again is at a disadvantage to him. And hopefully we can see that improvement in there. But from the profile that we've seen, I think naturally people are now Boro fans have got really excited by left backs, which I mean, it's a bit strange, being excited by a left back, but we've been conditioned over the last couple of seasons that this is why a position it helps create chances. We've seen with Luke Ayling how many assists that he got at the back end of last season. So the creativity from different angles will play such a big part. And the deal for me, £1.3 million. I think it's a good deal. We'll probably depend on how well he does. Will we get a fee from him if we ever were to sell him in, say, 3 or 4 years time? Who knows? I think it's just going to be an interesting signing for us. I think Alex Bangura and him will probably be fighting for that first choice left back. In my opinion, I was going to be interested to see, Dana, what you think of who's going to get that first choice spot, because there's 4 left backs at the club now. If you want to count McCormick, in terms of, obviously he's not going to be that first choice, but you've got Lucas Engel, Bangura when he comes back. Now NETO BORGES, who's going to be your first choice?
It's got to be Borges for now, I think. I mean, obviously we're recording this after the Cardiff game, so we know that Borges got the nod on Saturday, which, I think it was put down to a slight injury that Lucas Engel had. I had a look at our Telegram chat, and that's what they were talking about in there. So yeah, there's that. But also I feel like, that aside, it was really not a surprise that Lucas Engel did get dropped. So, I mean, it's going to be between them two, because Alex Bangura's injury is quite lengthy, isn't it? So we've kind of been told through the press. So it's going to be his position. I think it's going to be Borges' position. But it's also going to be interesting how Lucas Engel reacts to that, because it's that competition there. I think he's never really, because Bangura's been so injury ridden, he's never really had that substantial competition, Lucas Engel. So maybe it bring his game up. potentially. But I just want to mention another point about the actual deal for Borges. It's interesting that he's 28 in mid-September, and 28 is not old. It's not old. And if I was to sit here and say that it's old, you'd get really offended.
I am a bit offended, but go on. Go on. You can continue. I mean, a bit offended, but we'll go
I'm
with it.
not saying it's old. I'm saying it's different to what I think we've been used to predominantly with Middlesbrough. It seems like Boro want the kind of young players. They're looking, it was said in the Northern Echo, we look at clubs' academies to see the next batch of top talent that maybe Boro can bring in. So they go for that potential. This doesn't seem like a signing with potential per se, more that he can deliver in the present.
Yeah, and look, 28-year-old, you're at your say you're starting your peak now. I think before, like maybe 10 years ago, 28 to 30, like 31, you were pretty much done at certain points. But now 31 is considered a peak. So he's going to be definitely starting that journey now. We'll be getting the peak of his powers, and I hope he does really well. I think that you're right that Engel hasn't had too much competition. Luke Thomas wasn't, or didn't really set the world alight when he came.
I forgot about him, to be honest.
It's exactly my point. So, he didn't reset the world alight. Engel was preferred over to him. Engel's had a poor start to the season. I think there's more probably to it than just the injuries with Lucas Engel at the moment. But for right now, I think in the 90 minutes we've seen of him in the Boro shirt, I think the fact that we're not speaking about his performance on that opening debut for him is probably a decent sign. I think a player that you don't really mention that much shows a good level of consistency. We don't really want to be sitting talking about a player of how good he is and how bad he's been week to week. You want us to have someone in that 6 or 7, and I think you'll probably get that with Borges, to be honest. But kind of leads us quite nicely, to be fair, Dana, to our ratings. And I'll be honest, I've been crucified for left backs, and the people will be looking at me and they'll be going, "This guy, if whatever rating it is,
ignore it.
Let's just ignore it." Yeah, and so I might get mine out the way, and I'm going to go with a 3 out of 5. I think it's not going to be an exciting one. I'm going to give him a lot of room to improve. We need a left back, so necessities play its part, and also from the clips that we've seen, I think there is a good player there. I think we need to understand what instructions he's been getting from Carrick. Will he let him get forward? Because we haven't been able to see that with Luke Engel. That's his biggest strength, getting forward. And what I've seen from previously, and same with Bangura, both left wingers, but not allowed past the halfway line as much now. So I'd be intrigued to see what we do with Bangura. Not Bangura, with Borges, sorry. Got Bangura on the mind. But I'm going to go for 3 out of 5. Then we'll go 3 out of 5. Steady Eddie, and I'll be happy with that. But what are you going to go for? 5.
Yeah, I'm going to join you there. I'm going to join you there with a 3.5. Yeah, not too excited, not too down on it. I think he's somebody that will hopefully be an improvement on Lucas Engel, and will just, as you said, just be a steady option there. But then it's like, do Boro want that? Do they want somebody that is more like Ryan Giles, that is very extreme and that he's very, very good offensively and maybe not so good defensively? I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. But I think from what I've seen, it's all right. It's an all right signing. And as I said, hopefully he can be more than that. We're being cautious on this one, aren't we? But yeah,
we've been burnt. Well, I've been burnt.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I said 3.5 there, not 3 out of 5.
Okay, so I'd confirm it. But I think if anything, Dana, it sets up for probably a departure in the summer for one of those left backs. So
I thought you meant Borges. I was like, oh,
well,
Jesus,
not
Borges. The writing's on the
who
wall
knows?
already. Christ.
Who knows? I mean, people have been here for 12 months and then gone straight away. Some people have been here for 6, Morgan Rodgers, and then disappeared to Premier League glory. So, but I think it does set up a departure from somebody, whether it's Engel, Bangura, probably not Borges, but we'll see. But Dana, thank you so much for joining me as always. To listeners and the viewers, thank you very much for watching us and listening to us. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the Boro Breakdown podcast on YouTube and on your podcast provider, because 40% of you who watch this video aren't subscribed. So hey, get subscribing. But for right now, this has been the Boro Breakdown podcast, and that was our Neto Borges chatter in a pod. Up the Boro Breakdown.